Welcome to the episode of Love and Reality Podcast. I am your host, Ricky Valero. On today's episode, we are going to break down episode 7 of the Peacock series, The Traitors. This show has become a mass phenomenon across the globe with ratings through the roof. And just ahead of episode 7, it was announced that season 3 of The Traitors has been picked up. Folks, this is not a surprise to anybody. It wasn't a surprise to me either because I have already heard on good authority that casting has already begun on season 3, and there's a strong chance that it's going to be filmed throughout the summer of 2024 so that it can debut around the same time that season 1 and season 2 did in January. Yes, that's right, folks. Season 3 is casting already, and they're expected to shoot this summer with a debut of season 3 coming January of next year. Now, with that being said, I wanted to throw some names out who I think would be fun on the next season of The Traitors. Give me somebody from like Survivor. Give me Boston Rob, Siri Fields, Amanda Kimmel. From the challenge, give me Wes Bergen, Danielle Reyes, or Jordan Wisely. Now, let me get a little crazy with the challenge casting. I would love to see challenge vets The Miz or Theo Vaughn on this show. I think Theo Vaughn would be fantastic weekly must-see TV on The Traitors, or including give me Tyson Fury and his wife. Like we had the first couple this year with Larsa Pippen and MJ on the show together. I thought it was brilliant having a couple on here. So why not Tyson Fury and Paris Fury on the show? There's one more that I think that would be a blast. And if you've seen you've seen this guy all over your TVs. His personality is bubbly. He's loud. He's rambunctious. And I think that he's must-see TV. And that's Jason Kelce. So like I said, give me Miz, Theo Vaughn, Tyson Fury, Paris Fury, Jason Kelce, Boston Rob, Wes Bergman. Tell me who you think would be a lot of fun on season 3 of The Traitors. Without further ado, let's not forget. Let's get right into episode 7 of season 2, and things are going crazy. We saw Dan kicked off the show last week, even though trying to Hail Mary on the way out the door. Obviously, we have Pavarti and Phaedra talking to one another, and there's a little surprise knock on the door, and instead of it being Peter, it is Alan. Peter has refused their offer. He said he couldn't turn his back on Bergie of any of the other faithfuls. There will be no murder tonight, and Phaedra says this might be your last meal, talking to Parvati. Parvati is floored and devastated. He turned them down. No murder will be happening tonight, so the faithfuls will be walking in. Peter walks in and he tells us he knows that Parvati is a traitor and is planning on wreaking havoc because of the offer he made to her. Everyone has arrived. Everyone is shocked. Everyone knows that no murder means that there was a potential recruitment of a traitor. Alan announces he won't be telling them why everyone has returned, that they can make the speculations for themselves. Parvati says out loud, who got recruited? I love that she's very loud and vocal. Maybe a little too loud, maybe a little too vocal, but she says, Peter, are you the new traitor? And he says, maybe. She also says, raise your hand if you got the letter. Of course, nobody was like, who was going to raise their hand? Now, let me just say this. What if in this scenario, the person that didn't get the letter just magically raises their hand and says, yeah, the Traitors offered me a spot, but I turned him down. Now, the only people that would know that's a lie are Phaedra, Parvati, and Peter. I mean, just some strategic gameplay, maybe too much strategic gameplay, but I think it would be a little fun if we get a little bit more twist and turn and craziness inside that. Peter tells the camera he has no plans to tell anyone about his recruitment yet. Peter looks at her and says, maybe you aren't the traitor to Parvati because he's still here. And Peter's just, I love his back and forth banter between these two. They just hate each other and they're ready to get everyone out. Peter gathers his squad, John, Kevin, Bergie, and Tricelle. He asked them to trust him. He said, who do you think got recruited? Obviously, they all said him. And he said, yes. He said his plan is to keep it quiet with them eliminating Parvati tonight. And that's Obviously, it's like a game of chess, a game of chess right here. Poverty, Peter, who's going to win? P or Pete. Phaedra attempts to walk in and she is shooed away, which makes her mad. She calls them Peter's pals, which I think is actually a phenomenal name. Like, Peter's pals better be on somebody's shirt. You know what I mean? They better create a shirt off of that, Peter's pals. If Peter doesn't make a shirt off that, I would be blown away. He'd be just missing out on an opportunity to rake some cash in. All right. Let's see here. Trishelle brings up the fact that Dan gave them Phaedra, like hook, line, and sinker. And they need to get rid of Phaedra ASAP because she has the strength in numbers, but Peter's not having it. He knows that Poverty will kick them out or kick him out. MJ walked in and they kicked her out too, which causes MJ to think that Peter is a traitor and begins to talk to CT Poverty, Phaedra, and the rest of the crew, where she breaks down her theory of how he is the traitor and his little group is protecting each other. Like, this to me was exactly how Poverty needed everything to line up, right? You know what I mean? If I was, she was like, I need to think of a plan to really turn thing on Peter, and Peter was just like, here you go. You don't even need to do anything. I'm going to give this to you right here by myself. All right, it's competition time. It is the current pot sits at $95,500. The game is simple. They must carry the gold through the woods without getting caught. If they get all the gold through the woods, they can add $25,000 to the pot. Everyone will be grouped in pairs. Some of the pairs look like Phaedra, CT, John, and Poverty, and Peter and Trishelle. There's 6 different bags: 10,000 in one bag, 7,000 in one, 5,000 in one, 1,500 in another, 1,000 in another, and 500 in another. So $2,500 or $25,000 total, but each bag is worth a certain amount. So Peter and Trishelle get the $10,000 bag. They are excited because they might be the best team there. Phaedra and CT get the $500 bag, which excites her because if they fail, it's not a sweat on their back. Now, throughout the team's journey, they will split. There's pass with split, and they must choose which way to go. At the split, they must answer the question. They will find a scroll, and if one of the team members must pick it up and read it. It will reveal if they got the question right or if they got the question wrong. If right, they're on the right path and they can continue. However, the person who picked up the scroll will be caught in a trap if they got it wrong and they're out of the game. If the person holding the gold picks up the scroll, that money is eliminated from the competition. They lose that gold. Obviously, there are 2 shields on the line. We get a montage of craziness throughout this entire thing. They're traveling through the woods. Peter, Trishelle go first. Within 5 seconds of answering the first question, Peter is upside down. He is covered in mud. It was hilarious. A little bit later, we see CT trapped it's like a bear trap or whatever, like a human trap. They just pull him up and he's just chilling up in the air. Bergie's the next to kind of fall in the mud pit. Cherie is carrying $5,000 and got caught, meaning the team would not be able to add that money to the pot. Phaedra's freaking out because she's trapped in the woods by herself. Everyone is starting to fail at this game. It was hilarious. Like, this was funny. But we had 2 strong teams in the competition. We had John and Poverty and Kevin and Sandra. She's leading the way, and the duo are making their way through the woods without any issues. John was kind of impressed with how Poverty really kind of led the team here. Obviously, if they successfully answer all the questions right, the first pair that delivers the gold in the fastest time are the ones that are going to win the shield. So we go back and forth. Obviously, like I said, Poverty, John, Kevin, Sandra are the only 2 left. It comes down to it. They added $8,000 of the $25,000 to the pot. So we're looking at a little over $103,500 that's in the pot now. And then, of course, we find out who finished the fastest, and it was Kevin and Sandra. Alan said he has a surprise in for the cast later. CT is hilarious as he literally finds a shield in the house, and it was just walking around with the shield in his hand. Everyone is planning to banish Peter. CT said if the round table is right, he would vote for Peter right now. CT talks to Peter to see where his head is at and tells him that his name is on the block. Peter and Poverty and Phaedra are all sitting down together. He suggests working together with them. Phaedra's walking out because she wants no part of this madness. Very weird scene where we have the 2 traitors sitting down with the guy that turned the traitors down, that they would have actually been together having that conversation. All right, after plenty of bickering and going back and forth amongst one another. We have Alan walking in, telling the team to put their coats on and meet him for a deadly outing. Everyone is freaking the hell out because it's the spooky wilderness. We get flames everywhere. We have the center. It's a fire pit. He announces there is no round table nor a banishment tonight. He tells them they have the power to change the course of the entire game right now. He says this evening there will be someone murdered, but the group gets to pick who will be spared that final blow. At the end of the night, 5 players will remain left at the mercy of the traitors, with one of them being murdered. Kevin and Sandra won the shields, so they're the first two protected from being murdered. However, they get to pick the next person that is safe, and it just trickles down. This person picks this person, until there's 5 people left to go. So Kevin and Sandra pick, Cherie is picked, and MJ is furious. Like, she is pissed off. And then, of course, Cherie picked Phaedra. Cherie said she picked Phaedra because she believes that Phaedra is one of the good ones and it isn't a traitor. Well, let me tell you something. You are wrong. But Phaedra then, in turn, picks CT. Poverty is pissed she didn't pick her. CT is just so fun. Like, the thing about it is, I really feel like it was the gameplay here. Phaedra knows picking Poverty puts a target on her back. You know what I mean? There's already kind of a target on her back with some little Trishelle in chattering in the background about Phaedra being the one that is one of the traitors, because again, Dan brought that up. But Poverty is pissed that she didn't pick her. CT in turn picks John Trishelle. So there's no doubt in her mind that she thought he would save her. He said he's torn by Trishelle and John. He thinks that John is important to the faithfuls. He struggles with friendship or the game. She was pissed that he picked him over her. We only have one person left. Alan gives everybody the floor to say either plead your case. And obviously we have Poverty, Bergie, Trishelle, Kate, and MJ who are left. The only people that speak up is Trishelle and Peter. Peter pleads, saying that he's an enemy of the traitors and would like for him to pick him, and Trishelle also pleads with him as well. Poverty obviously wants him to pick John to pick anybody but Peter. After some thinking, John picks Peter. He said because he is focused on finding the remaining traitors. Trishelle is heartbroken. MJ says that she watched Peter throughout the entire thing, and it's possible she thinks that he isn't a traitor now, which obviously she was like gun-ho earlier. But after watching him kind of battle, it's hard to watch that moment and really watch him battle amongst all these people and be like, oh, well, yeah, Peter's the traitor. It's hard to watch his gameplay and really think that obviously maybe then he's overplaying. But it's impossible to really watch him play, even on the outside looking in, and be like, all right, this guy's a traitor now. You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't add up. But Poverty, Bergie, Trishelle, Kate, and MJ are the 5 remaining, with one of them set to be murdered later tonight. CT asked Trishelle if he hates him. She said she didn't think he cared and walked out. He said, I think she's more disappointed than anything. She's crying to the camera, saying that she thought they were turning over a new leaf. She thought he was like a brother to him. Phaedra is not sure how much she can trust Poverty. MJ is not happy at all. Trishelle has the ladies talking. CT wants to try to talk to her, but she's being a little standoffish. She told him that she thought this was more than just about friendship. She said if someone lit her fire, she surely would have returned the favor to him. Just really, 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 just I get it. It's a game, but at the same time, I mean, it is what it is type of thing. I mean, honestly, it could end up costing Trishelle her time on the show. And if that's the case, she didn't scream Phaedra loud enough. It means she's going home, and Phaedra is going to slide under the radar just a little bit more. All right, we are getting ready to kill somebody. Obviously, we know it doesn't happen at the end of this episode. It happened in the beginning of next episode, but Phaedra and Poverty are talking. She's worried about her and calls her out and says she needs to stop being the ice princess that she gives off Mean Girls. This is where Phaedra mocks some of the faces that I talk about every single week. Like that. All those faces that she makes. And again, that just might be how poverty is, but she just like she tells her she needs to be more lovable. It just was one of the funnier moments. Phaedra makes me laugh. Like I couldn't imagine this show without Phaedra right now. She's so funny, so quick-witted as well, though. Like what she did to what she did to Dan at the like the the Mortal Kombat finish him like at the table was brilliant as well. They discussed the names. Trishelle obviously being the bigger part of the Peter pals, and maybe she's the one that they need to target. They both agree this is the right decision. Obviously, they don't say Trishelle, but could it be Trishelle? Who knows? And this is going to be the first murder in quite some time. And that is it for episode 7 of The Traitors. We've got episode 8, 9, and 10 left on this season. It's getting crazy, getting wild. It's going to be interesting to see if the Traitors or the Faithfuls win the game. Let me know what you thought of the episode, folks. If you could do me a favor, hit the like, comment, subscribe, all of those good things everywhere in between. I would greatly appreciate it. Thank you guys for the continued support of the Love and Reality podcast. Don't forget, folks, this week, Love is Blind is returning, and I'll be recapping every episode of that. I've got some interviews up with some of the individuals that were on the show, The Trust. Game of Greed that was on Netflix. Those are up on the web, on the YouTube, and on podcast platforms. Thank you guys so much for listening to another episode, and I'll talk to you guys next week.